All right, so today we're going to make sure that we have some dialogue. Some of the five senses, so sight, taste, smell, sounding, and touching in our writing. So what's going to happen is we did some of this the other day where we looked at some pictures and we talked about what we saw or we thought we would hear or smell or taste or touch when we were on those pictures. So you guys got back yesterday, you got back your writing, the question part of it, and we were working on adding some details. So today we were writing a rough draft. So I wrote my rough draft, and I want to make sure that I have interesting words, that I have some dialogue, so people are talking. I want to make sure that my spelling is okay, like punctuation, capital letters, all of that is where it belongs. Okay, so I'm going to read you mine. Let's see if I can make it go a little bit closer. So maybe it's a little bit easier for you to read it as I'm reading along. And you'll notice that I put the numbers to the questions as I answer the questions. I put the numbers here. So I can just make sure that I caught all the pieces that I need. So here we go. My worst meal ever was fried fish. And since it's a paragraph, we've got that topic sentence, right? TS. Next, I have answering questions 2, 3, 4, which is when and where and etc. So Mr. Madrid and I, because I originally wrote me, and I wouldn't say me was going fishing. I would say we were we were at home after a day of fishing at Ridgway. Ridgway needs to be capitalized because that's a place. We brought back some rainbow trout, again, and capitalize it. It's not just any fish, it's a rainbow trout, to cook in the disco, which is kind of a round pan that goes over the propane tank. Mr. Madrid cleaned the fish and started heating the oil. I noticed here that I missed the E in clean, so I'm going to add that in. When it was bubbling, so I added a G because I'd forgotten, but bubbling is an interesting word. It's much better than when the oil was hot. He put the whole fish in, head, tail, fins, and all. I about barfed. So barfed is a much better word than like was sick. I asked him, here's my dialogue, why don't you take off the head? He replied, the brains are the best part. Ugh, I shuddered. He laughed at me. So shuddered is also an interesting word. So here's what it looks like. When it finished frying, he took out these crispy, crunchy brown things that were curled up like dried worms. Blech. I can't even begin to describe the taste. It was oily and plain, and it needed some spices because no salt, no nothing. Although, with the burned seafood smell hanging in the air, who could even taste the fish? As I took my first small bite, the crunchy sound of bones snapping made me gag. I thought I was going to just throw up right there. The feel of the dried out, oily, burnt fish on my tongue was yucky. So I found out I don't mind going fishing, but I am never eating fried fish again. It was disastrous. So I can maybe even put it was a disastrous meal. And here's my concluding sentence, right? And then I had all these details, so I still have my 3 parts of a paragraph. And that was our lesson for today, Tuesday the 21st. Thanks.